guys, this is Sunday 15/20, and we are finally doing loops, episode 5. Hope you guys had fun with the kill brick, but now we're back to stuff that will be used for more complicated things. So, what we're going to start with, insert a part, and we're going to call this part DanceFloor. Yes, we're doing loops today, and to make a DanceFloor, all it is a loop, and it's a while, true, do loop, and that's the first one I'm going to show you guys, so I might as well just call it DanceFloor, because, well, the while loop is probably the easier. So, like I said, while, true, do. So, what this line does is, while this is, I don't know what I did there. Okay, so while this is true, whatever's in here, do this. So if you just write do, well then, or you just write true, well then whatever it is true. So it'll just go on and it'll keep doing it. Inside of there, you could have anything that's true. You could have an equation so that if it's not true, then it won't happen. We could have like 1 plus 1 equals 2. Well, 1 plus 1 you need 2 equal signs because we're not creating a variable. I don't know if I mentioned that, but you always have to have 2 equal signs if you're making something actually like check if it's equal to that. If you have 1, it's creating a variable like we've done, you guys know that. So yeah, if we can do while 1 plus 1 equals 2, do this, but the easiest way to do it is just while true do. So what we're going to do here is, actually before we get into here, I'm just going to push that down a bit. We're going to make a variable. We're going to call it b for brick. So b equals script dot parent. Just so that saves us a little bit of time. So b dot brick color equals, and you guys know how to change the brick color dot new. And then instead of what we do usually, we're going to do something a bit different. Well, actually, here, I'll show you this way first. So b.brickcolor equals brickcolor.new. Let's make it really blue. Make sure you have the right caps and everything. There's a lowercase b on the blue. If you put it uppercase, it will not work. And then you want to wait. If every loop has to have a wait, or else it'll probably break because it's just running way too fast. And then after we change it to really blue, we'll change it to white. You know, why not? Change it to white. And then we'll wait again, and it should, and because it's a loop, it'll go back up to really blue, and then it'll go to white again. So for this one, we don't need to test it. All we can do is play. So we play it. We watch it go really blue, then white, really blue, white, really blue, white, and it will keep on going forever because obviously it's a loop. That's what it does. It just keeps going until a certain thing is until something specific happens. So yeah, that's you could just keep going and listing new brick colors if you want to make your DanceFloor, but what the average person, another way of doing it is oops, didn't mean to delete my end there. Oops. What the regular person would do is say brick color equals brick color dot random. So all it does, what random does, is it goes into the brick colors and it will just choose randomly from here. So you'll just get a bunch of colors. The only problem with doing it this way is that with a DanceFloor, you don't really want colors like pastel brown and dull things like that. So I'll teach you guys in the tutorial or tables that'll be coming soon how to do this with a table so that you can only get the colors that you want. But right now we're just going to use brick color equals brick color dot random, and because it's a loop, we want our 1 second wait, or however long we want to wait, but right now I'm going to say it's 1 second. So as you can see, it's just flipping through random colors, and it'll just keep going because while true do, and yeah, that's what random does. So that is your basic while true do. If this is true, and because we wrote true, it's always going to be true, then it will do this until, and you put the end because whatever's inside here until the end is what happens. So that's while true do. So there's another type of loop. It's called the for loop. So I'm going to exit out of this script. And for the for loop, we're just going to put a script in our workspace, okay? Because we're going to use the output bar for this one. So what for does is you can do so many things with for, but one of the things you do, one of the basic ones is for 1, 10, do. So okay, so guys, what this does is so it starts at 1 until the comma. So whatever number's here is what it starts at, and it'll count up by 1 until it hits there. If you want to be really specific, you can do things like 0.5. You just put it out there, and I'm gonna make this a variable just because we're gonna need it for later. So for I equals 1, so I is gonna equal 1, and then it's gonna count up to 10. So as it counts up to 10, I will keep counting. It'll keep going. And it'll go up by 0.5 because we put that there. I'm actually going to leave that out because really we don't need that. So for I equals 1, 10, print, and you guys may not know what print means, sorry, this got to be right beside it. Print I, end. So what happens is I is equal to 1, and because it's a for loop, it'll go 1, and it'll go 2, 3, 4, count up to 10. And then, as it's counting, every time it counts, it goes through whatever's inside of the for loop. And we're also going to have a wait there, because it's a loop. Like I taught you guys, you need a wait. So, it'll print I, and at first I will be 1. It'll go through, it'll wait once. Then now I will be 2, because it's counting up to 10. So it'll print 2, because I will now be equal to 2. Our variable I. That's what we're printing. You guys know all about variables. And, yeah, until it counts up to 10. When it reaches 10, it'll stop. And that's how for loop works. So, watch our output bar here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There you have it. Counts up to 10 and it stops. And it was printing all the numbers on the way up. So, that is a for loop. In its basics. Alright, so now that we know for loop, really the next loop is a repeat. It's a loop, but it does its loop until a certain thing happens, which you can do with this, and I'll explain it in a second. But actually right here, we don't want this running when we do our other loop. So I'm just gonna delete this script quickly, guys. So that's gone. Into our workspace, I'm going to insert a new script, and in this script we will do the repeat loop. So what repeat does is whoops, I spelled that wrong. Repeat, and whatever's inside here will do, and then until whatever happens. So if we make a variable up here and we say I equals 1, so we can repeat printing I. So we can print I. I'm just gonna get rid of that line. Sorry, that little stuff like that kind of bugs me. I don't know why, I'm weird. Anyways, so then we print I. After we print what I is right now, we'll say I equals I plus 1. So the new value of I will be 2, because I is 1. I equals 1 plus 1. So now I will be 2. It's just changing the variable. And like all other things, we want to wait so that our loop doesn't break. So what happens here, we got a variable I equals 1. We repeat printing I, which is 1. After we print I will equal 2. It'll equal I plus 1, which will be 2 the first time. We'll wait. Then it will repeat this, because we haven't met an until statement yet, because we haven't put one yet. And it will repeat print 2, because I is now 2. then I equals 2 plus 1, so it's now 3. We do our wait, it comes back up repeating, and because it's not 3, it will print 3, so on and so forth. So what we want here is until I equals 10. So what this is going to do is I equals 1, it will go through this whole repeat thing until I is finally equal to 10. So once it's equal to 10, if I equals 10, then, because you guys know all about if statements, if whatever's here is true, then you go into what's inside the if statement. So if I equals 10, then we want to print I. Oops, I put the space. I always put that space for some reason. I don't know if it's not allowed, but I usually like it like this. Anyways, if I equals 10, then we print I, and we can print script over. So yes, you can actually print words through the output bar using the string value quotations and brackets idea, that whole thing. So here we go, we got I equals 1. We're going to print I. I will then be equal to 2 because we're adding 1 to it. It's going to wait. It's going to go through this whole thing, and I will keep counting up by 1, and it will keep printing the number until it equals 10. Because when it equals 10, it will not go back through and print 10. What we must do is make it print I again to make sure it prints 10, and then we're going to print script over. So let's see if that works. We print, watch this, 1, 2, it's going to count up to 10, or technically it's going to count up to 9. Then we'll skip to our if statement, where it will then say 10 and script over. There we go. And that is that. That is a repeat statement, and I'm not going to lie, I use those all the time. They're actually really important. All of these loops are important. You can do so many cool things. When I teach you guys C-framing, I will for sure be having loops in that. And for those of you who don't know, C-framing is when you move bricks around and you move their position. So if you want to make a brick that'll like move around in a circle forever, you use the while true do and some C-framing. And yeah, so loops can do some pretty cool things. But that's not all. Not yet, at least. What we want to do now is there's a thing called break. If you have a while true do loop, you can't, well, technically you can just turn it into a repeat loop and make it until I equals 10, but there's no way of doing this, so I'm going to delete all of this, except that I equals 1. So, while true do, you guys know how to set this up, while true do, print I, so print I will equal I plus 1, and we put no wait time, so let me put my end there. So it's the exact same as our repeat loop, except we don't have an until statement, so this is just going to keep going. How do we make it end at 10? Because, you know, we want that to happen. So what you're going to do is inside this while true loop, you're going to put an if statement. And the if statement is going to be if I equals 10. If I equals 10, because we're telling it if it actually equals, you're not saying I equals 10. So if I equals 10, then break. And what break is another thing commonly used in loops, because what break does, it's like the only thing in a loop that can just stop it. Just wherever it is, it just breaks the loop without actually like making an error in the script or anything, so it just stops it. So if we go out of this, hit play, we'll watch it count up, and when it hits 10, the script will break. But it doesn't print 10, just like the other script wouldn't, because if I actually equals 10, then it's broken before it can print 10. So I forgot about that. So what we want to do is, before that break occurs, we'll move that break down. Before the break happens, we want to print I. So now we'll print 10. And just to speed this up, I'm gonna change this to 0.5, just so that we can get through it. So yeah, if we go and test that out now, hit the play button, watch it count up at 0.5, and then it hits 10 and ends, because we said print I before we broke it. So if you really wanted to, we could also print the whole script over thing, like we did with the last one. Script over, go in, watch it count up at 0.5 in a second, hits 10 and says script over. And yeah, so that's break, and you know return, you know for, and you know the while true do, and yeah, that's pretty much all the loops. But yeah, I hope you guys have fun with all the loops. Those are all of them. Break is very important. It's hard to incorporate sometimes. There's some situations where getting the break in there isn't as easy, but you just think of all the different things, you know. You can create a function, connect the function in the middle of it. Functions aren't limited to the start. You can be right in the middle of here and connect a function just out of nowhere. And if you create that function to incorporate the break into the script, well, that'll work for you. So yeah, create your own scripting challenges. Try to do things that you don't think you can do yet. Mess around with loops. The more I teach you, the more you'll be able to do, but really making a test place and just running around it, doing a bunch of crazy scripts, experimenting, it'll really improve your debugging skills by looking at the output and stuff, and you'll get better a lot faster than just watching these videos. So yeah, that's loops for you guys. Next video I will move on to I think I'm going to go to tables. We're going to do tables next time. So look for that. Tables are awesome. Do so many cool things. And at the end of that episode, I will tell you, where's our dance floor? At the end of that episode, I will make it so that we can create a table, and we choose the brick colors randomly from the table, so that we only get brick colors that we want. So that'll be good. We can make a better dance floor, and I'll do that at the end, and you guys will be able to do so much more, and I bet you guys can already do a ton. So yeah, I hope these tutorials are working. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and look for the next video. It should be here soon.